Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. I am so happy to be here, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I want to let you know that we are live, and it is the 17th of August at about noon Pacific time. No, it's noon Mountain time, about 11 a.m. Pacific time. Oh, I want to let you know we're over in the chat room, and you can find it by heading over to 12radio.com. Click on the chat button and you'll be redirected into the Facebook chat. And Scott, my producer, is standing by and he'll gladly let you in the room. So you can chat with me over there. Just you'll see where my banner is, where the rest of us are posting, and you can do that there. Or, pardon me, if you'd rather watch the live stream, you can do that by heading over to Facebook or YouTube and clicking on the or not clicking, go to Facebook or YouTube and look for Katie Weaver Domestic Mystic, and you'll find the live stream already happening. So that's how to do it. I hope you guys are having a good week. I don't know that you are. I'm very aware of what the energy is like right now, and I think we all know it's not great. So we're going to work on that today a little bit here. World events, COVID, Delta, Afghanistan, the fires, lots of things are contributing to people maybe not being in their best place. And I don't get it. I wasn't hoarse until I came on the show. But you guys, you should see the cover of smoke we are under right now. It is crazy. You can't see the sky. You can't see the mountains around us. It is everything is red in the sky, the sun, the moon. It's ominous as hell. It's really weird. And so, yeah, my lungs aren't loving it, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It just doesn't feel very good. But anyway, wow, weird. Just weird stuff afoot, isn't there? Yeah. So, I want to do some really good work today with healing. So if you need some healing work, let me know. I'll also do some readings out of the chat. I'm going to pull a collective card for us. I just really want this show to be very nurturing today. We just seem to really, really need that. So, the other thing I would like to do is empower each other. So, if you have a care, a worry, an issue that you would like all of us to put some collective love and energy into, please feel free to post it either in the chat room or in the comment section of either of the live streams. I'm keeping an eye on all. That's one of my superpowers as a mom and former early childhood provider for 10 years. I can multitask like a mofro. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. Yes. I need a Winix for my office. Is that a little air purifier, Lillian? I'm curious because, yeah, my lungs are so mad, so unhappy. I mean, it could be worse. It really could, but I just feel like you know, my lungs aren't as happy as they could be. But I have friends who literally cannot leave their houses at all right now. So I'm counting myself lucky. But I'm masking again because, well, you guys know I have a lot of autoimmune disorders. And while I have been vaxxed and I have had COVID, I'm still a little worried. So I'm taking every precaution, which means, and I live in a community that's not even 50% vaxxed. And so, I've got to take care of me and, that's what I have to do. So anyway, but with this smoke and stuff and then having to vax in the store, ugh, boo, boo, boo. Anyway, whatever. That's my whining. We, however, had such a cool experience this weekend. We headed out to pick huckleberries. So we drove up into the mountains above our house. And it's been a weird climate year. And the huckleberries came on like 2 or 3 weeks early. And so they usually aren't really even starting to come on by like August 10th. And this year they were almost done by August 10th, which is so wild. But We always go up into the higher mountain ranges above where people around here typically pick because you guys, it's a free for all. You don't ask anybody where their favorite huckleberry patch is, they won't tell you. That's like asking somebody where their favorite fishing hole is. It is like top secret information. Ain't nobody's going to tell you anything about it, right? So we usually avoid the fray and we pick in a higher climate and we don't usually pick until Labor Day. But because they were on lower early, we figured we better go up and check and they were almost gone. We got enough for two huckleberry cheesecakes for the holidays per our family tradition, but that was it. And yeah, it's crazy. So, but anyway, while we were up there, really high elevation, like I don't know, I didn't look, but I'm going to say somewhere around 8,000 feet. Scott will probably correct me in the chat, but, and that's fine, please do. But at any rate, we were above the smoke. So we could look over the valley at this thick blanket of smoke over the valley, and we were above it, which was amazing. So now I kind of feel like we need to go back, except for that the air's a little thin up there, but at least it's not smoky. But a miracle happened while we were up there. A miracle. We have for years and years and years been trying to harvest our own OSHA. OSHA root is a plant that grows in only up in high country. And OSHA is a plant that you can use medicinally. It is a plant that the Native Americans used a lot medicinally. The whole plant is edible. It is an antibacterial and an it might be an antiviral. It's got a lot of good properties. Uh, the old mountain men around here and the Native Americans would use it to help with any kind of respiratory illness. And they would chew bits of the root all winter long to protect their lungs from getting sick or from like getting pneumonia or something. And so when I was a kid, my uncle was friends with a lot of those old guys, like the old Native Americans and mountain men guys around here. And they would take him up into the mountains with them to dig OSHA. And OSHA is really, it's easy to overharvest it because it takes years for one plant to grow and for it to grow enough to get substantial root. And so they really guarded their secrets about where to find OSHA. So every year when I was a kid in the fall, he would show up with, or like early fall, with a big root for my dad. And my dad would dry it for a while if it wasn't dried. And then he would chop it up and soak it in vodka for a month and strain the OSHA root out. And then you'd have your OSHA root tincture. And then we would take a dropper full of it every day in the winter to keep from getting sick. And it works quite well. It's an amazing thing. But here's the thing. He is in his late 70s now and he doesn't go out and harvest it anymore. And he has really guarded the secret of where to get it. Now, I could buy OSHA root. You can order it. There you can. And I've done that. But I really have wanted to be able to harvest it myself because we can, you know, because it grows right up around us. And so Scott and I have been looking for OSHA. I'm not kidding you guys, for easily 10 years and never freaking found it, because it's elusive. It's hard to find. It doesn't the look of it anyway, it's hard to find. I'll just say that, at least here. And my uncle has given us clues before. Like he'll tell you like the basic area of where it's at, but he would never like give us the whole answer about where to find it. Anyway, so we're up in the mountains this weekend. We're picking huckleberries. We're on our way back down and just like taking pictures and just enjoying the absolute gorgeousness of the area. And Scott slams on the brakes and says, "My God, I'm sure that's OSHA. That's OSHA." And he points to this plant up against a tree that crosses all of the T's and marks all the I's. It is the uh, it's the whole package. Everything you find that we have found has some of the right properties, but not all. And you have to be really careful because OSHA and hemlock are quite similar. And hemlock will kill you dead real fast. So you have to know what you have. Anyway, he got out and he dug it and he came back. And the root is very distinct. It tastes like when you put it in your mouth, it tastes like you're like chewing on a cedar just, you know? It has a real, or like have cedar oil in your mouth. It has a very distinct, kind of offensive taste. And so we knew it had the ferns, it had the brown hair at the base, it had the big thick root, it had the OSHA smell and taste. And we were so excited. No kidding. That has been hidden from us for a good 10 years. And then we drove a little further and we found some more. So we're so excited because we now have OSHA root. You can't grow it in the garden here, actually, at least the kind that grows around here. It grows at a really high elevation. And that's one of the ways you know because hemlock grows at a little lower elevation. But I promise we did all of our homework to make sure that it's not hemlock. But yeah, it's really hard to propagate. So anyway, pretty exciting stuff. So we got OSHA and we're stoked. So we got two roots, and that's all we would need for ourselves and our family to get through the winter. So it's all we'll take. Because again, you sure don't want to take more than you need because that would be not good for the environment. And we're sure not going to do that, right? So that's it. Lillian says, "What does huckleberry taste like?" What does huckleberry taste like? Huckleberry it's kind of like blueberry, I would say, except for that it's more tart. More tart. Yeah, I would say it's a blueberry with quite a lot more tartness. I don't know. Anyone else have an opinion on that? Uh, in a sense, to me, huckleberry tastes like huckleberry. I know. Very helpful. All righty. Well, anyway, I just had to share that with you because it was pretty cool. We've been trying to make a plan to go back up there with Scott's drone and be able to get some drone footage of the area and the valley to share because it is just stunning up there. But I had to share with you what I'm wearing. I am wearing, I have to stand up. I'm wearing one of my new hoodies. Isn't it pretty? I'm so in love with it. So these are my little Let It Be hoodies that I have over on Etsy. And I have put them on sale. So I'm going to post a link for you guys if you're interested. If you're not in the chat room, my Etsy store is, wow, Joyful Goddess Designs. How did I forget that? Joyful Goddess Designs on Etsy. So if you would like to go check it out, and again, it is actually on sale just this week. So if you're interested in picking one up, that would be the way to do it. I'm so in love with them. I don't know if I'm allowed to have a white hoodie. I'm not sure how this is really going to go down, but I love it so much. So there you go. I'll tell you what, I have been creating my little fanny off. There's been so many birthdays. We have 5 Leo birthdays in my family. My sister, Kara, is a Leo. Both of her kids are Leos, and 2 of her stepkids are Leos. Yeah, they about wear us out. So when their birthdays roll around, it's hard to well, and now actually one of them has a fiance who's also a Leo. So now there's six Leos. Anyway, so I've been creating like crazy. But the boys, her stepsons that are 20, 19, and 20, their older brother commissioned me to make underwear for them with each other's faces on them. And so they each got a pair of underwear with their brother's face and a big pink heart on the butt. I know. Classy. And you better believe I made them. That's right. Ah, so I moved my son back to Boise. So now we're down to just Mars. And in 2 weeks, we are moving her to her college. So we're going to be empty nesters in 2 short weeks. It's very weird. I'm kind of excited to see how it goes. I'm so excited for her because her fall softball season starts instantly. So she's going to have a ton of stuff going on. And I'm extremely excited for her. And when we drop her off, we'll literally be back in 2 weeks for her first games. And then we'll see her in 2 weeks after that for some more games. So, we aren't going anywhere. Or, she's not going to go very long before she sees us, but it's pretty exciting stuff. Lots of big stuff going on around here. All right. Well, let's take a look at Luminous. I'm going to put a link in the chat room for you. As you know, Luminous is the magazine that I publish every week with some help from my friends. Okay. If you are not in the chat room and you'd like to see it, just head over to katie-weaver.com and click on the Luminous Magazine button. I don't know about this cover. I thought maybe it is. It kind of looks fallish now to me, and it's a little too early. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. We're going to just usher fall in. I told Scott yesterday on 1-2 News that I'm already drinking pumpkin spice lattes because I'm doing my part to bring fall in. We have had enough of this summer. It can go to hell, right? So that's not very nice. Okay. I called the edition this week the Just Breathe edition because you may find yourself feeling a little uncomfortable in your skin. You may find yourself feeling like you are not quite yourself. You may very well find yourself feeling a little bit sad, feeling some grief, feeling some anxiety. There's a lot going on in the world, and a lot of empaths are picking it up a lot, big time. So, at any rate, just breathe through it. Creature comfort self care this week is going to be super, super important. And then, oh, I didn't share my screen. Hold on. What am I doing? Where am I? There we go. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Alrighty. Okay, so in my musings, I shared the goddess readings that I put out last year. It's kind of like they call them a quiz, but I don't think it's really a quiz. But you click on it and that'll take you to the page. And then you look at whatever stone resonates with you and you click on that card. So, for example, we could click smoky quartz and it will take us to the smoky quartz video. And then you just click on that and that will bring you the video about that goddess. So, kind of fun. And I hope you guys do it. Maybe, you probably already done it before, but hopefully it gives you some new insight or something that you haven't, thought about before. But I thought it was a good time for it because we're just feeling weird. We probably need as much goddess energy as we can get right now, is what I'm thinking. And honestly, I kind of feel like we need a little more opportunity right now to tap into the divine feminine. Maybe it will help us all feel a little bit better. So I'm putting it in the chat too if you want to just go find it there. But that's what the goddess quiz looks like. I don't know why it's called a quiz. I kind of hate that, but it is what it is. Okay. Moving on to bitch scopes. She said there's something about a query. Yeah. We're in an interesting energy this week. So, let's see what she says about today. Of course, these are from Kelly McLean. She said on the 17th, Our edgy and rebellious tendencies can be expressed. A turning point can feel like a minor crisis. Ugh, no. the the overreactor in me doesn't want to hear that. Or maybe does need to hear that. I don't know. One or the other. Okay, let's read one scope while we're at it. Who haven't we read in a long time? How about Libra? You may feel somewhat betrayed, either by a parent or one of your children. This is a tough situation. You will make more progress by remaining open and warm than if you close yourself off and seethe. You are dealing with individuals with their own will, and it isn't a battle you can win. Try to take the high road and vent to a safe third party. Ooh, Libra. Okay, my tip this week was one of those tips for reducing anxiety and grounding yourself because, again, this is an anxious, weird week. So, when you are feeling that boiling up in you, think about things you can see in your current moment, right? Things you can see, things you can feel, things you can hear, things you can smell, and things you can taste. Take yourself through several things and then breathe with that and give yourself a chance for that moment to pass. Okay. All right. The card this week is Metatron from Christy from the Energy Oracle deck. No big surprise. We have to have those that strong energy right now, I think. So Metatron is all about truth revealed, integrity, seeking answers, solar plexus, and acceptance of truth. The meditation is Dear Archangel Michael, please show me what is true, expose deception, and guide me in accepting my truth. It's a hard one this week because it does seem like plenty of truth exposed that we do or do not really want to hear about, but it's here. So it's in our faces. All right. Melissa has the Magic Monday message. This is her postcard for the week. I am open to love. I think that's really important, and that we remember to be open not just to romantic love, but love from friends and family, and also offer that in as non judgmental way as we possibly can. We have got to come together. I know I've been saying it for a while, but I still mean it. The crystal guidance from Christy is the Amazonite. Supports honesty, reveals hidden truths and deception. Okay, over at True Crime Paranormal this week, we have two new cases this week. The first is a report that we put out on Monday about sex trafficking in Sturgis. Oh my God, blew my mind. I had no idea that was something that was happening. I should have, but Sturgis is a place where, unfortunately, a fair amount of sex trafficking has been happening. Luckily, the authorities in South Dakota are on it and they've been working on it for a while now, but still, they are busting people right and left for sex trafficking there. And a great number of those people are Native Americans. Yet again, the Native American community is just so vulnerable to this kind of stuff. And we are talking about little girls from like ages 12 to 15. Yeah. Yeah. Primarily little girls. Wow. There was a quote in that story, and I don't know who the quote was from. Christy made it, so I'll have to fall back on her. But that wherever there is a large gathering of men, there will be sex trafficking. And I thought that's interesting. That is a very hard thing to hear. I think a lot of people are not going to want to hear that, maybe refute that. But the fact is, at this point, it's true. So why does this show matter? It matters because we talk again and more about what sex trafficking really is, what it really looks like. We have been led to believe, at least here in the US, that sex trafficking is something like, a woman is or a girl is kidnapped and we never see them again and they're just, in some sex dungeon for the rest of their lives. And that does happen. However, it's much more likely for girls to be trafficked throughout their teenage years by being sent off to places like Epstein's Island and places like Sturgis and the Super Bowl, believe it or not, and other gatherings and places where girls are trafficked. Now, boys can be trafficked too, so I don't want to be all inclusive to that. But learning the more you know about sex trafficking, the more you can watch for the signs of it, the more you can protect your family members, the more you can get real about what's actually happening with sex trafficking and who's doing it, because here's the thing, there's a lot of people doing it. We want to blame certain genres like Hollywood or politicians, and sure, some of them are involved in some stuff like this, not all of them, just like lots of regular people that you would never suspect would be involved in stuff like this. So I hope it's a conversation that makes us uncomfortable. It should. And I hope that we aren't afraid of that uncomfortableness to the point that we shy away from it, because this is an issue that has been ongoing for time immemorial, that we keep making more strides in, battling and defeating and being more aware of. And we have to continue to do that. So I hope that you watch that show for that very reason. Our other episode this week so far is Maria Cash. She was a missing woman from Argentina. Yeah, very sad case. I'm with you, JR. Very sad case. All righty. So that's it for Luminous. Hopefully, you guys find some gems in there that can help you through the week. And as always, thank you to everyone who helps me to contribute to that. Always important stuff. So there you go. All right. Really quick, just jumping into both chat rooms. And Trish, she's going to Montana. Yeah. Your some of your favorite stomping grounds. Okay. All righty. And yes, we'll definitely do some readings today. So you guys let me know. Yeah, Tara, it is terrible, terrible. And yeah, and I'll say too that the issues with trafficking in the US and in Canada are about the same. They're happening at about the same rate and about the same kinds of gatherings. So yeah, she I know that you can relate to that in your country too. It is all over the place. All righty. So I wanted to do some heart singing bowl work because I feel like maybe that helps us. If we can all release some of the heaviness in our own hearts, then we can help other people, right? So we have to be able to release our own stuff so that we can let others in. So let's do that. So I've got my handy dandy heart bowl here. So I'm going to play the bowl a couple of times. The first time I play it, I would like you to just sit and breathe and focus on the center of your chest, your heart chakra, and just allow the frequency of the singing bowl to let anything go that's ready. Any grief, any sadness, any anxiety, anything that's just weighing on you, whether it's yours or not. If it's anyone else's, let's really let that go too. So let's do that first. Just breathe with it. Sometimes when we start with the bowl or the drum, you have a moment of fight or flight. And so hopefully you can just stick with it. It is loud, so if you have headphones on, you might want to turn them down a little for this activity, but let's go ahead and get started. So again, breathing with the bowl, just allowing the frequency of the singing bowl to just release anything you're carrying in your heart chakra that isn't serving you any longer. Good. Okay. So now we're going to change gears. I'm going to play the bowl again. This time, I would like you to allow a bright ball of white light to emerge from your heart and get brighter and brighter and brighter until it has completely enveloped you in that bright love. Maybe it'll be white, maybe it'll be green, maybe it'll be pink, maybe it'll be something else. I don't want to dictate the color actually. You just allow this light to continue to expand from you. Okay, I do like that. That feels good to me. Okay, whew, I love it. So, Tara, yeah, I'll tell you, Tara said, I don't even know how this continues to happen. Back to the sex trafficking conversation. I know. We do all this heart work and then we go back to this, but it's okay. Knowledge is power. She said I was about 12 when someone tried to lure me and a friend. If I wasn't there, I don't know what would have happened to her. Oh, for sure. For sure. And that kind of stuff does still happen. But let me give you an even more common scenario. And I'll tell you how it keeps happening. Poverty. Deep generational poverty is how it keeps happening. Because this is all about money. Sex and money, guys, right? All right, so let me give you a scenario, okay? You have teenage girls whose families are in a place of terrible poverty, who have very little money, who have very little resources, and you have someone that you know, that's you trust, that lives in your community, who says, "Hey, let's use Sturgis as an example. Hey, I have a friend who's hiring, 50 extra girls to come to Sturgis to clean hotel rooms and work in the kitchen for the next 10 days over Sturgis, and we'll pay her $100 a day. Do your girls want to come?" Right? So, wow, they could make enough money to buy their school clothes and to maybe do something with their friends or get their driver's license or whatever. And so, as a parent, you go, yeah, yes, they do want to. So you pack your teenage daughters off and you send them in a van or a car or a bus or a whatever off to Sturgis with these people that you thought you could trust. And when they get to Sturgis, they discover that maybe those are some of the jobs that they have, but they're also expected to have sex with men while they are there. And if they don't, they are threatened. Not them, their families. Maybe your sister is there as well. And you're told that if you don't carry out the job you've been brought here to do, that they will hurt your sister. Or maybe they'll simply tell you, I know where your family lives. You can do this, or I will burn their house down, or whatever it is. And of course, you better not tell because I know where your family lives. And guess what happens? They do what they're told and they get their $700 or whatever it is, and they go home with it. And they have that money, which might help them and their family, but at a great price. And that child has now been trafficked. Now, she's not missing. She's been returned to her family when they told her that they would. And her parents are probably none the wiser. you know? Even if she does tell, she probably also will tell them that there were threats launched against their family. And when you're in a place of extreme poverty, you protect everything you have. And you also probably don't trust law enforcement enough to tell them. And even if you do, law enforcement may not feel empowered enough or maybe corrupted enough that they're not going to do anything about it. People that are living in extreme poverty are extremely vulnerable to crime, particularly sex trafficking. It is scenarios like that that got all of those teenage girls to Epstein Island with Ghislaine Maxwell just writing checks right and left. It is scenarios like that that get girls trafficked to places like Sturgis. They're not captives, they're not kidnapped. They're just brought under false pretenses, or they're not. Because while I would like to hope that everyone cherishes their children and their daughters to the point that they would never ever let something like that happen to them, they don't. They don't. Because of poverty, because of addiction, because of all of the evil in the world, it's just not always true. And so it is possible that people in your community who know what families care about their kids and which ones don't, right? Who have kids that they aren't taking care of, who have a lot of addiction issues or poverty issues or whatever it is, or are sex offenders themselves, that do come to parents and say, hey, I want to take your daughter here. I'm going to take her for 2 weeks. I'll pay you $1,000. And they go, have at it. You want her for twice that time? Right? Because they want that money. And if you don't think that happens here in the US, you are crazy because it does. It happens a lot. It's disgusting. It's really sad. But it is happening. It is something that we have to be aware of, that we have to know about. Partly because maybe it's not happening to your kid, but maybe it's happening to her best friend, right? Maybe it's happening to your nieces or nephews or cousins or kids that live around you that are being shuttled off to weird places to, times during the summer or even during the school year. Maybe they're coming back with a lot of money in their pocket, but they're not quite the same afterwards. There are things to watch for. And that's a big part of it. That's a huge part of the scenario that's currently happening. And it is why, when we keep hearing these Save the Children campaigns, and we're blaming the Hollywood elite and we're blaming the politicians and we're putting the blame everywhere but where it belongs, we have to stop that. Save the children, yes, but know what sex trafficking really is. And I'm not saying that some of that isn't happening within those communities. Of course it is. They have a lot of money. Again, easy to prey on people that are in generational poverty, but it's also happening all around you in places that you're not expecting it. Yep. Okay. Brandy said, when my daughter went to work in Jackson over the summer, I was afraid of something like this happening. I went over, met the people, investigated the place before I would even let her apply. Thank goodness it did turn out to be a very good thing. Good. And good for you, Brandy. That's exactly what you should do. And keep constant contact with that kid and know what's happening. If you're not allowed to go visit, this is not a place you want your kid to be, right? Yep. Boy, okay. Wow. I didn't know today's show was going to get so deep, but we can't just not talk about the uncomfortable stuff, right? We can't just not talk about the hard stuff. If we do that, we are putting our heads in the sand. We're refusing to acknowledge what's going on our planet. And if we're going to do that, we are a part of the problem. Yeah. All right. Well, enough about that. Let's go ahead. I wanted to do a collective reading. I was looking in my decks today because I was looking for that specific goddess deck I wanted. And this deck really jumped out at me, the Hidden Path. This was one of my mom's decks by Raven Gramassi and Stephanie Taylor, and I really love this deck. It's kind of a hard one. I never read with it professionally because the meanings of the cards are all really, you really need the book. And I wouldn't read professionally from a deck that I needed the book for. I just wouldn't because I don't. That's not professional to me. But however, I decided that this would be a great deck to just do a collective read with because I feel like we need it. We do need it. Yeah, look at the card. That's the back card. Isn't that cool? It's a door. I want that door. I need a new front door. My front door is just well, for one thing, it's ugly, but for two, it's just I need a new front door. That's all I'm saying. So, what I really want is a pretty wood door like this. So maybe this is my wake up call, right? I have this sense that Scott could probably build a front door. You know, as a home inspector, he inspects houses that, because he does a lot of new construction, he inspects houses that have front doors that cost upwards of $8,000 to $10,000. Yeah, I kind of think he could make something amazing. I'm going to push him that way because he doesn't have enough things to do, as you know. All right, so I'm just going to ask what we need to know as a collective this week. I'm going to shuffle 3 times, as you do, and I'm going to pull a card. All right. The card, it's good to see you, Sharon. The card is chthonic roots, which is so funny because I was just showing you the picture of the OSHA and talking about the roots, but there is a wishing well. There's the plants. What's the best angle so that you can actually see it? Yep, the wishing well. There's the plants, the roots. There's grass. There's trees all around. And the wishing well, it looks like it's just a bucket that's been pulled up. Okay. And spoiler alert, we are going to look in the book because, like I said, this deck just does not. The cards just, you need the book to know what the heck they're talking about. Maybe if I use this deck more, I would know, but I don't. But I'm kind of thinking we're going to use this deck all fall, but it's something that we need to continue to work on. So maybe I'll be more organized next week and pull the card before time so I can actually find it in the book and not waste your time on that. But I didn't today, so such is life. You guys probably don't feel like I'm wasting your time as much as I feel like you're wasting. I don't like wasting time. Okay, here's what the author says. The divination meaning, now bear in mind this is what we need to know this week. When this card appears, it indicates that very deep levels have opened. A process has begun that will take you through darkness and into enlightenment. Things are not as they appear, and your quest is to let the desire to know take you further down the road. The card can also mean to trust your visions and intuition. A magical and spiritual transformation is at hand. I really love this. And the meanings of the cards are traverse, trepidation, and sixth sense. I think trepidation is a perfect word for how we've been feeling the last day or so, and what I really anticipate we'll feel this whole week. The saying, it's always darkest before dawn, or, you're always the most confused before you hit enlightenment. I think that really applies to this week. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Find a place where you're okay with feeling weird. It's going to last a little bit anyway. So find a place in you where you can live with it. If you can do that, I think you can be okay with whatever's going on in your life, right? But you have to find a way to be okay with being uncomfortable. As empaths, sometimes we try really hard to make ourselves comfortable, and more especially to make people around us comfortable, right? But right now, other people are uncomfortable. That's fine. We're uncomfortable too. You don't have to do anything for anyone else this week as much as you have to do it for yourself. Okay, here's the teaching. Potent herbs that alter states of consciousness have a long tradition in the mystical arts. Oh, all we have to do is get high. Just kidding. Probably. They have been used to align the mind and the spirit to the realities of other realms or dimensions. These dimensions are experienced as the underworld or otherworld, beyond the realm of mortal kind. Many ancient potions contain substances from plants such as foxglove, aconite, henbane, hemlock, belladonna, or nightshade. These deadly plants, prepared in precise potions, have been used to bring one close to death so that they can pass easily into the realms that reside beyond this world of mortal kind. Don't do that though. Just meditate instead. The resulting visions and perceptions can be enlightening, and the power of oracle ability may also be achieved. However, without knowing the precise portions and ingredients, such plants are likely to cause death, as we said. Do not experiment with any of these poisonous plants. We won't. Uh, the card depicts, just eat a gummy instead. You'll be fine. The card depicts a hideaway area with an old well, which is ancient myths and legends, and is often depicted as an entryway to the other world. Interesting. A cloth is spread out upon the ground in front of the well. On the cloth are the harvested roots of a mandrake, datura, and aconite plant. The harvest sickle also lies on the cloth. Traditionally, such roots are harvested at night when the moon is dark or full. Sunlight is to be avoided when working with chthonic herbs. Okay, here's the shadow's edge. The chthonic roots card contains the concept of transforming through altered states of consciousness. That's the key, right? We're uncomfortable right now because we are going through an altered state of consciousness. Again, we have to breathe through it. The theme is one of roots deep in the dark places of procreation and of still waters that run deep into the hidden realms below. The message of this card is that we must enter into the deep recesses of the mind and spirit in order to pierce the darkness, sorry, and retrieve the hidden or lost light. Interesting. Okay. So, get uncomfortable. Stay uncomfortable. Let your shadow side come out a little bit. Brandy, I feel like this card so much was for you, right? So Brandy has mediation tomorrow, and she was worried about kind of falling into a bad pattern with her soon to be ex. And here's the thing, Brandy, you owe him nothing. You don't owe him your politeness. You don't owe him making him feel better. You don't owe him anything. So you take care of you and the girls. And if that means you have to take a stab at him, well, then by God, you do. In mediation, not for real. We're not Lori Vallow or something. But, you have to be tough and strong for you and the girls. You're not going to fall into that old stuff, honey. You have seen him now, right? The curtain has already been pulled back. You have seen him. You know him. You know his heart now. You know his spirit. And you don't have any reasons to make excuses for him anymore. You're not going to fall back into that. But if you have to be a little fierce, if you have to hurt his feelings, so be it. That's okay. You can do that. I know, because I've known you for a million years, I know you have a shadow side that can come forward if she needs to, but it's that empath in you that always worries about what other people think or worries that somebody might, that you might hurt somebody. Oh, well, she's a big, tough badass this week, and that's what she's going to be, right? And I also, when I first read your message, I got to tell you that I had a message from a grandma that's also wanted you to know that she's going to go to mediation with you and help you to remember who you are. Okay. Isn't that wild, Tara, that it came up after I just talked about hemlock? How weird. Well, is it weird? No, it's just magic, right? I love this magical world we're all sailing through. It's pretty wild. Laurie needs some healing sent to her daughter, Christy. The infection is gone, but the abscess is still in her abdomen. We would love to have her release the abscess completely so that surgery won't be necessary. Yeah, let's take a look at that, Laurie. What a relief that the infection is gone, though. I mean, it feels like slowly but surely her body is, building up the toughness to beat it. Now we just need to keep her so strong so that there's no weakness in her body or energy that has to go elsewhere, to fight another illness or anything like that, to so that her body can keep doing its work on the abscess. All right, so I'm just wrapping that in a lot of light. I'm filling it with ethereal rubies. Rubies are crazy good for fighting infection and helping the body to heal. All right, we're going to continue to hold that space with you, Laurie, that we see her just heal right up and that she won't have to have surgery. However, I'm going to tell you that if it comes to that, I would hate to see her have to have surgery right now anyway because of COVID. But if she has to have surgery, I really feel like it'll work out. She'll be okay. Yeah. And that then she'd finally be done with this because wow, what a long road it has been, right? Okay. Okay, I have lost your comment, Mary. Where did it go? Mary said she's gotten some bad medical news and is feeling pretty shell shocked. So I just wanted to give you some grounding. There's like 8 women standing alongside of you. You've got friends here, you've got ancestors, female relatives, your guides, but it's like a whole crew of women stepping forward to really be your warriors. So lean on them, Mary. You know who they are, and ask for their help. Talk to them. I think for you right now, really sinking down into that part of you where you can ask that question, who are you? Right? I think that this is a time for us to be able to answer that question for ourselves. Who are you? Don't answer right now, right? Go through this week. Spend some time in meditation this week. Spend some time doing nothing. Spend some time outside. Spend some time being weird. Whatever works for you, right? Whatever really helps connect you to that who are you place. All righty, you guys, we have done what we do. We've definitely talked down to the end of the show. So, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, I am a professional psychic advisor over at one2listen.com. You can find me over there every day doing readings and healings, animal communication, mediumship, whatever it is. I'll do my very best to help you. And yeah, I'll be there as soon as the show's over. So thanks so much. You have been listening to The Katie Weaver Show here on 1 2 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.